Hi everybody, I'm Leah of CJ Drill, and today I'm going to show you how to build one of these. Now what is this? This is called a floating shelf, and I gotta tell you, there's nothing better if you want to showcase a collection of items you may have. So let's get in the workshop, let's get started. Okay, so this is what we need to get started. So what is it? Well, it's a hollow core door, and it's 30 inches wide. Now we're going to have to take the door and we're going to cut it down the middle. Well, maybe not exactly down the middle, because we want to cut a shelf that's going to be appropriately sized. So let's get started. We're going to go over to the table saw. Before you get started, just make certain that you have an outfeed table set up behind the table saw. Okay, so that's our cut, and it's a nice clean cut. I'm going to turn it on its side so you can see what we've got here. Now, remember I said it was a hollow core door, so these pieces here, you say they're just cardboard. Okay, so what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to cut away some of the cardboard to make room for the cleat. Okay, so I've got a utility knife here. This is just cardboard. What we're going to do is we're just going to cut away some of the cardboard. What it's going to do is it's going to give us room for the cleat, okay? Okay, so there's a little bit of remnants of the cardboard, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a razor blade, a safety blade, and just scrape that off and smooth it. And you're going to want to repeat that process wherever you find remnants of the cardboard. Now keep in mind we're going to insert the cleat into the cavity of the door, and you want to give yourself about 1 inch to 2 inches worth of clearance here from the top of the door to where the cardboard is. So just cut away about 2 inches. Okay, so now it's time to cut our cleat. So we need to measure the distance between. Okay, it's about 1 1/16 inches, but we're going to cut it so it's 1 1/8 inches because we want a snug fit. So you're probably saying, wait, you're cutting the cleat a little thicker than the cavity in the door. Hey, that's fine, because the skin of the door is flexible. You want that cleat to be as snug as possible. Okay, so this is the cleat, and we want to make certain that we dry fit the cleat inside the cavity of the shelf, and because you don't want to get this thing secured to the wall and then find out your cleat doesn't fit. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm just doing a dry fit. Okay, so I've got my cleat inserted. I know that it fits. I don't want to push it all the way down because then I'll have a hard time removing it, and we need to remove it so we can secure it to the wall. Okay, now I've determined where I want the shelf to be placed on the wall. Now what we have to do is our next step is we have to determine where the studs are, and we're going to use a stud finder to do that. Okay, so I'm going to put the stud finder on the wall, turn it on, allow it to calibrate. It's calibrated now. Now I'm going to start moving it across until I locate my stud. Well, there's one stud there, so I'm going to mark it. I'm going to keep going down. I'll find my next stud. It's my next stud right there. I'll mark that. Okay, as you can see, I've located the studs beneath the surface of the drywall. Now I know where I need to attach the cleat. Okay, so what I've done here is I've got the cleat, and I'm holding it up against our reference line. It's going to let me know where I need to pre-drill holes in the cleat. So I'll tap directly into my stud, and I won't split the pine because I'm pre-drilling. Now I'm going to use a structural screw. You can use a lag screw if you like, but this is a good alternative. I like it because it tends not to split the wood. Okay, so when you drill a pilot hole, just make certain that the drill bit that you're using is smaller in diameter than the diameter of the screw that you're going to use to attach the cleat. Just make certain that you clamp the wood down before you start to drill. Okay, so so now it comes time to attach the cleat to the wall. We're just going to line up our pilot holes with stud center. Remember, stud center is the center of the stud. Can you see why now I love these structural screws? They're just an easy install and they secure whatever you're attaching to the studs. And this is what it should look like. Now what you want to do is you want to apply wood glue to the inside of the, and be generous with it. Make certain you get the top lip as well underneath here. Okay, I want to give you like 3 different fastener choices. And the reason for that is, you never know what a homeowner has in terms of equipment. Ideally, you would want to use a pneumatic nailer with a compressor, but not most homeowners have something like that around the house. So what we're going to be using today is we're going to be using a cabinet screw, and it looks like that. Looks a little bit like a drywall screw. The other thing you could do is you could use a wire brad. That's what this is. That might be a little challenging nailing it in, but it's a good choice. It can be a good choice if a hammer is all you have. Next, this is more like a finishing screw. What makes it different is it has a smaller head. Now it's time to put the shelf in place. So we're going to slide. Now remember, we did a dry fit so we know that it fits, but it may not be effortless. We're going to have to, fool around with it a little bit. Here's the thing, it's important to get a nice snug fit. And you don't want to have a gap between the shelf and the wall. So you might have to wrap it with a hammer, but you don't want to damage the shelf itself. So just make sure you use a piece of scrap wood to make your taps. That way you're not worried about, damaging the shelf itself. Now I'm going to just use a cordless screwdriver to drive the screw into the cleat. And that's it. Now make certain you repeat the process down the length of the shelf, about every 12 inches. And don't forget to get the underside. So we're all finished. I gotta tell you, I'm pretty happy with the results. There's no better place to display a collection like my tribal mask here than on a floating shelf. Now, I stained my shelf. You may want to paint yours, or you may just want to leave it natural. The choice is yours. This is Leah saying, you can do this. See you next time.